Greetings, this is Matt Faiello, Technical Marketing Engineer with the Cisco Cloud Networking Compute BU, and we're back with another Intersight Managed Mode Expert Series video. Today we're talking about partial policy deployment. I just returned last week from Cisco Live, and during my presentation there, I talked a few minutes about this, and I asked the audience if they knew about this capability, and only a couple hands went up. So as a consequence, I'm going to go ahead and take that material and turn it into a video here to make sure everyone is informed about this exciting new capability. So with that, we're going to discuss a slide and then we're going to move on to a demonstration. Okay, so this capability was pushed to SaaS on, I believe, April 17th, and it just was pushed made available to the appliance, on-prem appliance, CVA, PVA, as of Thursday. So that would have been the 18th of June. Okay, so that is the 1.1.3-0 release. Upgrade to the latest, greatest appliance version, and you'll get this capability. But the default behavior for deploying policies has changed. It used to be you have a deployed server profile, you made a change to that server profile, even by the most popular change, adding a VLAN or taking away a VLAN. And when you had to redeploy, then all the policies in that server profile would redeploy. Okay, that was determined to be unnecessary. It took a lot of time. We got feedback from customers. So we actually changed the default behavior. The new default behavior is we'll only redeploy the policy that has changed. That's going to greatly shorten the amount of time to deploy policies, to deploy the server profile. And then we're going to present the capability, as you can see here in the screen snap here, that's highlighted. You can always choose to override the default behavior and deploy all the policies. So if you're in a certain use case where you want to deploy all the policies, you can certainly do that. But again, the default behavior is just to deploy the policy that has changed. So with that, let's go ahead and show a demonstration. Okay, so for our demonstration, we're here in Intersight, and I'm going to work with this server profile here. So let's click into it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is for this LAN connectivity policy, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to modify the VLANs in the Ethernet network group policy for VNIC 0 and 1. They're using the same policy. So let's edit that. And you can see we have our Ethernet network group policy. I'm going to modify that. And I'm going to simply add a VLAN 105, for instance. Okay, we can see that that's changed, that's added. We're going to save that. And now we're going to update. Okay, and we're going to save and deploy. All right, so now we get this screen here. And again, the default behavior is to only deploy the policies that change. But to do a compare and contrast, I'm going to go ahead and choose to deploy all associated policies, whether they're modified or not. So we're going to get a time for that. And we can see we have our deployment taking place. And we can see some other policies here deploying. And I did not touch those policies. So this is the behavior we asked for, deploy all the policies. And this is a pretty lightweight server profile, so we're not talking about a lot of time. I know in a real production environment, a lot more VLANs. It's going to take longer to deploy these things, but this is a nice example to show and demonstrate the behavior. Okay, so we're just now getting down to the LAN connectivity policy, and we're done. And firmware skipped. Okay, so if we go into our requests here, we can see that that was successful. And we took about a minute, 2 seconds to deploy that server profile. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and actually do the reverse as an example. Okay, so here's that LAN connectivity policy that we were using, and here's the Ethernet network group policy that we added to VLAN. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that, let's go ahead and modify that. And here's that 105 that was deployed. So now I'm going to delete that. I'm going to take it away, save. Okay, I'm going to go back to the profile. We can see we're inconsistent, and we're inconsistent because that VLAN has been removed. Okay, so we last deployed with VLAN 105, but now we've taken it away in the save settings. So let's go ahead and deploy. And this time we're going to stick with the default behavior of just deploying what has changed. So I'm not going to select that. Okay, and we're done. So if we go to our requests, we can see that just deploying the policy that changed took a whole 12 seconds. All right, so we went from a minute, 2 seconds to 12 seconds. So that's just a simple example. I know it's going to, in production environments, it's going to be a little bit more time. Okay, but you can make a huge difference. I did have an attendee at Cisco Live speak up about this capability. He was very aware and very excited about it because literally in their environment for all their UCS, their deployment times literally took from hours, okay, down to minutes with just this capability. And again, this was pushed to SaaS in mid-April. Okay, so if you're on SaaS, you have this capability, whether you realize it or not. For the appliance folks, connected virtual appliance, private virtual appliance, it was just pushed last Thursday. So that's the 1.1.3-0. That's a pretty heavy upgrade for the appliances. So definitely go out there and check out what's new. Um, and hope you enjoy this and appreciate this. And that concludes our demo. That concludes today's video on partial policy deployment. I hope you were able to learn something new. Stay tuned for future Intersight Managed Mode Expert Series videos. Thank you.